Mimi Brown in Front Page News talked to us about, some of the protests happening in Minneapolis because of Renee Good and Don Lemon and how he's come into the picture. But Nicki Minaj is being called out by some people for being, according to them, homophobic. And the reason why this is happening is because when the live stream that Don Lemon did on his YouTube channel went live and you got picked up by news, she decided, Nicki Minaj, to tweet about it. And her tweet says, Don C-word, sucking lemon is disgusting. How dare you? ? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. And then there's a photo of a Chucky doll. Then she tweets Happy New Year. Then she retweets a post by a woman who was talking about the fact that Don Lemon is married to a white man. He married Tim Malone, real estate agent, back in 2024.
They started tweeting Dr. Umar that?
They started tweeting and Nicki Minaj reposted it. So I don't know if it made it to Dr. Umar yet, but yeah.
So people have been asking me about responding to Nicki Minaj's unhinged, homophobic tweet about me. I usually don't respond to this stuff, but let me just say this. Nicki Minaj, stop talking about for which you know nothing about. This is out of your depth, by the way, and you are a homophobic bigot. You don't care about African Americans. You're not an African American. From what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. And the other thing is that your family members, you have one family member who's reportedly a sex offender, the other family member, your husband or whatever, a sex offender is your husband, and one of them is reportedly a pedophile. And you have nerve to talk about me and what you think that I do? Nicki Minaj, get a life. Stop being a pick-me.
Former CNN anchor Don Lemon has found himself in a heated public clash with Nicki Minaj after the rapper called for his arrest over his live stream of anti-IC protesters disrupting a church service in Minnesota. Minaj lashed out at the openly gay journalist in a series of posts on X on Monday, disgusting, for broadcasting a protest, which interrupted a Sunday service at a Minnesota church. How dare you? I want that thug in jail, Minaj wrote in all caps, accusing Lemon of singling out Christianity and insisting he would not have done the same to another religion. She accompanied the post with an image of the horror character Chucky. When even Nicki Minaj is calling you out, you know something is wrong. Don Lemon has been trying to explain himself after that church incident, saying it was not a big deal. Let us take a look.
Turning now to Minneapolis, there's been a very high-profile protest, I guess if you could call it, where a bunch of BLM activists who are now part of the anti-ICE movement stormed into a church in the state of Minnesota. The reasoning behind this was that they had found names of ICE officers and suspected that one of the pastors at this church was the leader of a local ICE field office. It did end up, by the way, that the pastor, who they allege was an ICE officer, was not even present there at the time. It set off a high-profile incident, now showdown with the Trump administration. Don Lemon, the current YouTube streamer, I guess a disgraced ex-CNN anchor, was actually present at the protest, which has heightened some of the discussion around this. So we're going to show you some of the clips that has happened. We're going to discuss it on the other side. Let's take a listen.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. In the beginning of the church.
Here is the moment everyone remembers. Don Lemon at the church, trying to explain himself. You can see why people were upset. Church is not a place for careless behavior, and respect matters, no matter who you are. This is exactly why Nicki Minaj spoke up. Even celebrities noticed.
A member of ICE, and so here we go. And we were interrupted by this group of protesters. Yeah. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left. So, what do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So, but there were folks who I have to take care of my flock. Okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest. Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ. I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though. We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why.
That is the moment people are talking about. Church is not just another venue. It is a place people take seriously, And that is why his behavior came off as disrespectful to so many viewers. After the backlash, Don Lemon went on interviews and talked to TMZ.
Nicki Minaj and her response to all of this and the language that she used. I think it's interesting just because Nicki has been, over the last couple of months, made it clear that she is now publicly supporting, and I think maybe she has all along, but now publicly making it known for support for the Trump administration and even the MAGA movement. The choice of words that she used to go after you, I'm not surprised she went after you.
It's homophobic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have to black it out. You should show it to people. She called me Don, C sucker lemon is disgusting. Look, this is what I'll say to Nicki Minaj. I normally don't respond to things like this, but, F it. I'm going to do it.
Saying it was not intentional. But intent is not the issue. Respect is. That is why Nicki Minaj spoke up and why so many people agreed. This is not politics. It is common sense. And here is an interesting perspective. Even during a Krystal and Saagar debate, Don Lemon came under fire. This was not just coming from Trump supporters or the usual critics. Saagar, who is not a mega MAG figure, spent over 45 minutes questioning Don Lemon's behavior at the church. That is right. Even people across the aisle are calling him out. Let us see what happened during that debate.
Spirit of BLM is alive and well. It's very clear, specifically because it's also a BLM group that was behind this protest. And I've actually been frustrated that everybody's talking about Don Lemon and not about the actions of these protesters themselves and then the reaction from Democratic lawmakers. So you had the Minnesota State Attorney General defend this protest action, and he said, oh, well, people will have to feel uncomfortable. So he doesn't see anything unlawful here. He actually doesn't think it's a violation of the FACE Act. You had the state Governor Walz of Minnesota put out some mealy-mouthed statement. And it's like, this just seems intrinsic to me. And I remember in our debate, people got mad because I talked about liberal protest norms. This is liberal protest. Like, they seem to believe it is okay. And again, this is a violation actually of federal law, at least clear cut to me, whenever you have the FACE Act, which was written in 1994, specifically says you can't intimidate and go in and disrupt religious worship services. It is unbelievable to me, like, that there is no general consensus and effectively just silence in the same way that you see many right-wingers be silent on, let's say, the excesses of ICE, to what is something which is so egregious in its form of protest, and it seems completely normalized and permissed.
Why they are focusing on him, which I think is also worth saying as well, because he's famous, because he's liberal, because he's hated. Yes, I think because he's black and gay. All of that plays into it.
He's the first person to remind you he's black and gay. Okay, it has nothing to do.
There is no doubt that is part of why he is a lightning rod here.
No, because he's a lightning rod.
I don't think that is deniable. But in any case, that's the reason that they have made the face. He wasn't even the only journalist there, by the way. So for Don Lemon, for them to even float charging him with the FACE Act, with this KKK, insane. And like, on principle, as journalists, we should be vehemently opposed to that. Because genuinely, you may not, I know you don't like his views. He's a liberal, all of that.
It's not because he's a liberal that I hate him, but yes.
But okay. you don't like him.
No, but here's the difference.
As a journalist, like, the ability to go in to document this protest, to be live, to talk to the protesters, to talk to the parishioners, to talk to the pastor, to talk to everybody on the ground. It was genuine. It was actually valuable content, and it is worthwhile looking at it because, I think he, in some senses, did a favor to the right because you do get
insane tactics.
Yes, yes.
No.
Because you do get more of a sense of, you can't just view the church members.
Krystal seems to notice the people going inside the church, and it really puts Don Lemon's behavior in perspective. Even in this debate, Saagar is not being political. He is just pointing out what anyone watching would see. Moments like this show why the church incident caused such a reaction and why Nicki Minaj and so many others spoke up. This is not about politics. It is about respect and common sense.
It is a business. I mean, I'm a taxpayer of this country. I'm paying his salary.
Sure, they can protest
they are,
outside
in the local community. Let me just finish for a second.
So when you look at everything together, the church moment, the backlash, Nicki Minaj speaking up, and even people like Saagar calling it out, it is clear why this struck a nerve. This is not about politics or labels. It is about respect, awareness, and understanding the space you are in. I want to know what you think. Was the reaction justified, Or was this blown out of proportion? If you appreciate this kind of common sense breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment.